This is probably the most common complaint or frustration from my patients. I've reached a plateau, doc. What are we gonna do? I'm stuck. I'm gonna tell you right now. So you've reached the dreaded weight loss plateau. Weight loss is going pretty well over the first 3-4 weeks, even 3-4 months for some folks, losing weight on a pretty good clip. And now for the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you jump on the scale and you have the same number looking back at you. What's going on here? It's called the weight loss plateau. And everyone who goes on their weight loss journey reaches the plateau. Think about it. I think a plateau is pretty much what everyone wants to do if they're trying to lose weight. It's what everyone wants to land at. Think about it. What's your goal? Your goal's 170, 180, 185, whatever it is, that's actually your plateau. That's where you want to stop losing weight, right? And continue to live there, eating what you can eat and, eating what you figured out you can eat and the amount of working out that comes along with that eating and leaves you at the plateau. So plateaus are good. Plateaus mean that your body has found homeostasis. The problem is when the plateau doesn't match the number that you have for your goal weight loss that you started your journey with. That's when it becomes a super frustrating and possibly deal-breaking event for a lot of folks. So it's important for me and important for other coaches and important for you as a person looking for weight loss to manage the plateau and figure out how we can get through it and get to the real goal that's going to be at the end. So yeah, plateaus are not fun, especially when you have been doing very well and you're like, what am I doing wrong here? It's possible you are doing something wrong. It's possible. It's very possible. But most likely is something that we know, like I said, every person on their weight loss journey inevitably will reach some sort of plateau. The reason we know this is because physiology has taught us this, like experience has taught us this. There are studies on what the plateau is and how it, how it's been described in the literature. There are psychologists, psychology books have been written about this, and there are many papers that have studied this, and the National Institutes of Health has studied this. And basically, there's a couple theories out there, but the basic issue is that your body has become efficient at this new caloric intake, and it's saying, well, this is where I'm gonna land and keep us here and keep us safe. Because if this person continues to hold our caloric intake at a deficit of this amount and keeps on working us out here, we're gonna go to zero. So I'm gonna become as efficient as possible with this combination, and we're gonna go ahead and level out at this new weight. And it's just a problem for you because, this is not the weight you wanted it to plateau at. You wanted it to plateau another 30 or 40 pounds less. So yeah, so there's a lot that we're through here, and this is what this video is about. So the first thing that I would like to point out is that it's pretty basic, right? You are working at a caloric deficit. So if you really want to just burst through this plateau, the first thing you can do, and probably the easiest knee-jerk response, would be to decrease your caloric intake. So if you've been working at, 200 to 300, maybe 400 kilocalories a day, maybe you're gonna have to drop it down a little bit more. The problem there becomes, is it something that's sustainable for me at least, is it something that's sustainable for the long term? Is this something that you're gonna be able to do when this is all said and done? Because studies have also shown as we continue to lose weight, the brain and the body continues to ask for more and more kilocalories or calories per day as a response to that. And that's one of the reasons why, and if that's not managed correctly, that's one of the reasons why we bounce back after a quote unquote diet, which I don't profess, I don't teach people to go on the diets. I like to teach a nutrition change, what you put into your body versus, how you're working out. Very important to not just do the knee-jerk response, which it's possible. I mean, if you're not really doing a big deficit at the beginning, if you're, up there in weight and it only took, maybe 100 or 150, maybe 200 kilocalorie deficit per day, you can go ahead and that's probably the easiest and probably the answer to continuing through that plateau. So yeah, the first thing you could do is, take away some of the kilocalories. But let's go through a systematic way of seeing what's happening, right? first off, like I've said in many of my other videos, let's make sure that we're eating enough protein. We've already established that increasing lean muscle mass while losing weight, or maintaining lean muscle mass while losing weight, will absolutely help us to continue to lose weight. Metabolism is promoted through muscle mass. Lean muscle mass promotes more metabolism, more calorie burn. So if you have adjusted your protein, if you haven't adjusted your protein intake, it's a good idea to take a look at your calculations and see if you can increase your protein intake so that you can optimize keeping from losing too much lean muscle mass and actually improving or increasing your lean muscle mass, and thereby increasing your calorie burn through your BMR and TDEE. The second thing you can do is make sure you portion out your food. One of the things that happens when you're losing weight and working out is the appetite tends to rev up a little bit. So portioning out your foods and making sure that you have the right amounts of food, even though eyeballing it sometimes is just not the right way to do it because you'll overeat. So make sure you portion out your food and make sure you're getting the right amounts of foods, your macros, your protein. Make sure you're getting your right amount that you expect to get of your fats and the right amount of your carbohydrates. Make sure, number 3, make sure you're not rewarding yourself with food. You can undo a lot of your exercise with food. You really can. And so it's very important to take a look at not rewarding yourself with food. Of course, you can have some of these foods that you do like that are not part of your everyday main nutrition, but rewarding yourself with excess foods that are not in your nutrition, rewarding yourself for like, hey, I had a great workout today. I'm going to go ahead and do 3 scoops of ice cream a Sunday. Goodness. You can actually set yourself back a whole week by overdoing it on rewarding yourself with food. So make sure that food is not a reward. Food is nutrition. Food makes you big and strong and lose weight if you do it the right way. Here's one, number 4. Make sure you are not overestimating or overcalculating the caloric burn, your activity levels. Make sure that you're actually getting a right amount of what you're actually putting into your activity levels. Like if you were counting yourself down as a moderate exercise person on your TDEE and you have that as your kicker for your BMR, it's important that that's where you are. Because if you aren't, then you are now grossly overestimating how many calories that you can actually intake at that exercise level. For instance, a BMR of, if you calculate your BMR, which you should do on a calculator if you're going to start this fitness journey, you go ahead and tell you, well, I'm sedentary. At the beginning, I'm sedentary. So you have this number. Let's say it's 2,000 kilograms. Let's say it's 2,000 calories. And then you have another one, you calculate another one BMR and you put yourself at a moderate level. And that one's almost 3,000 calories. You can see where there's a 1,000 calorie difference, a 1,000 calorie allowance for having an activity level of moderate versus sedentary. So if you are actually not working as a moderate and you're working as a sedentary, putting out the sedentary output, but taking in the amount of, even light exercise to a moderate on a daily basis, you can see where you can actually start to gain weight, if not stay at a plateau as you become, more and more efficient with your calorie burn. So it's very important to be honest and try to get a good measurement of your actual output and plug those into the calculator so that way you can actually better calculate how many calories you should be taking in. So don't overestimate how much you actually put out, how much activity you put in, how much work you're putting in. Often overlooked, make sure you are getting enough recovery time. Sleep is absolutely paramount in your weight loss journey. So as you recover, especially if you're doing resistance training, which you should be doing, you're doing resistance training, those muscles and your whole body, your brain, everything needs time to reset and repair. And that's done over sleep time. Best time is over sleep time when you're resting, or recovery time between one workout to the next. So don't overdo it from one workout to the next, and make sure you're getting sleep for recovery time. So that way your body can go ahead and, recalibrate and repair muscle which will then in the future help you to continue to lose weight. If you're having a plateau and you're pretty sure that you're putting in the work and you haven't been tracking your meals, this is the time. If the plateau means, well, caloric intake is more than my caloric burn. So there's only one way to prove that. You have to actually get numbers. You have to get objective with it. So go back to tracking your meals maybe for a week and see if is it true that I am actually in a caloric deficit. Put in a tracker like one of my favorite trackers is Lose It, is a Lose It app, but it doesn't matter which app you use as long as it's robust and you're not having to search and look for different foods, and as long as it's not cumbersome. And I find that app to be pretty straightforward. So I use it myself, and I recommend it here in my office when I'm doing a consult. So use any app that you prefer to follow your caloric intake, and that is accurate. So that way you can say, hey, I've been putting out this much as per my fitness app or my Fitbit or whatever measurement tool that you use to make sure that you are actually putting out that activity, that caloric burn. And this is my intake with this app. Is it matching with my calculations on, the BMR and TDEE? So very important that if you get to a plateau and you've done all the things, check and make sure that your caloric intake is what you believe it to be, right? Number 7 seems pretty straightforward and everyone should be doing it anyway. Make sure you are drinking water. Staying hydrated as you're losing weight is absolutely important because you are actually more hungry. Of course, as you're continuing to lose weight, your body is fighting that caloric burn, is fighting that weight loss, and is asking for more calories on the intake level. But if you stay hydrated, you tend to stay fuller for a longer period of time. And not only that, you need the water in order to do the processes of rebuilding muscle and recovering. So hydration is absolutely important, especially after, burning glycogen actually causes us to lose water, especially at the beginning of the weight loss journey. So hydration is absolutely important and something that, everyone should do anyway, even if you're not, on a weight loss journey. Hydration is, basic stuff. Make sure to do this one. Limit your alcohol intake. If you're on a plateau and you notice, you do happen to have a couple drinks a week, take a look and see what those what the caloric values of those drinks are. They might be a lot higher than you think they are, number one. And number two, intaking alcohol seems to increase our appetite, and we end up making decisions that are more on the, let's say, calorie, simple or calorie dense foods as a result of, having partaken of a few drinks. So if you need to, you might need to explore a smaller, a skinnier drink, or just cutting out alcohol altogether, just to make sure that that's not part of the reason why you are on this plateau. Geez, already up to number 9. Stay consistent with your nutrition. Don't give up on the nutrition. Don't lose motivation. The nutrition is what got you to this plateau. Now we're going to find out where we need to go ahead and fine tune this in order to get through this plateau, right? So don't change up your nutrition. You can tweak it a little bit, but don't give up on the nutrition, because the nutrition is what got you down to this level. So very important to stay on your nutrition. It's better even to switch up your workout. If you found yourself doing the same things over and over, your body does get used to these activities, right? Think about, people who, I liken it to construction workers. We all seen, a couple of overweight construction workers in our lives, and these guys work pretty hard. No one says the construction workers, guys like that don't work hard, but their bodies get used to this exercise, this activity that they're doing. And it says, well, this is our plateau right here, brother. We're going to eat this amount of food. You're going to do this for work every single day. And you're going to come in here overweight or obese or whatever it is at a number that, is higher than they would like. Doing the same activities over and over it can absolutely cause a plateau. So change up the exercise. Maybe add some more cardio. Maybe add some more resistance training. Always a good idea to add some more resistance training in different planes, different muscle groups on different days. Switch it up. Shock the body into coming off of this plateau and continue to lose weight. And number 10, the psyche, the mind must understand that plateaus are a natural progression of losing weight, and you can work through them. There are even, like I said, psychology papers that are written about plateaus and the psychology of getting through the plateau, and there are things that we can do to tweak the plateaus, like I just listed. So just do not give up motivation. Do not give up the journey, because this is the body trying to preserve itself, not knowing where you're going to stop. Hey, you've been losing 20, 30 pounds. What's going on here? What's going to happen? I'm going to get more efficient. I'm going to level this thing out here, because this is a race to zero in the body's, in the body. That's the way the body sees it. But we know that we have a number that's way above that. But the body doesn't know better. It's just going to go ahead and readapt and get better at, using the calories that you're giving it versus the exercise that you're doing in order to flatten out. So here's a bonus. NEAT. Increase your NEAT. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. What is that? Well, if I've got a standing desk here, sometimes I stand up at the desk. It's just decreasing the amount of sedentary time that you have, that when you're not at the gym, or you're not at the park walking, or you're not on your bike, or you're not in the pool. Anything that you can do that to increase non-exercise activity. Parking your car a little bit further in the parking lot, or taking the stairs at work, and leaving the elevator if you've got 3 or 4 floors and you can get up and down. Anything you can do to do little things while you're at work, or while you're not at work, go for a walk when you're with the family, instead of, sitting on the couch for a little bit. It's an activity you're doing with the family, but it's also a physical activity that you can count into your caloric burn. So that's a little trick. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the paper that I found and I've been using to help my patients through plateaus in a journal called Psychology Today. I think this was written in 2019. And they had a cool a mnemonic, or one of those things where every letter represented something, right? So it was called progress. And the P in progress was for patience. Like I just outlined, have patience with yourself. Understand that this is part of the process. Don't give up. The weight loss is worth it. The gains are worth it. So absolutely have patience. This is for the long haul. This is not a short-term thing, right? We've talked about losing weight over a long term. It's probably in your better interest anyway, as you continue to make better habits along that time. So patience is absolutely paramount. And the R. R is to revisit the reasons why you wanted to lose weight. So what we're doing here is reconnecting yourself to why you jumped on this weight loss journey in the first place. And hopefully that thing or that reason that you connected yourself or you're connected to your weight loss journey is strong enough to continue to motivate you through this plateau. O is for one of my favorite ones, which is observe and collect data. And that's where on my tip list, we had you looking at your diary, doing a week or two diary to see if you actually are taking in the amount of food, the amount of calories that you think you are at a restricted level. So observe and make the changes and calibrate off of your observation. And the G is gauging your results and adjusting. So based off of, let's take the example of if you realize, hey, you know what? I thought I was working at 300 or 400 calorie deficit, but I've only been working at a 250 calorie deficit. Hooray. We lost some weight, got down to a plateau, just doing 250, but now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten in the nutrition and actually come down to a 400 or 500 level, whatever you thought you were at, based off of the diary that you did, now telling you that you were not. So very important to gauge and adjust based off your observations in O. So P, R, O, and G. Super, super important. R is for reestablishing accountability. Whose fault is this? What happened here? Inevitably, it's going to be you, right? So be accountable. Be accountable. This is what I did. This is what I did wrong, and it's fine to be wrong and make a mistake or overeat or reward yourself with food. It's okay. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Say nice things to yourself. Don't lie to yourself, and make sure that you reestablish accountability, because in the end, this weight loss journey is absolutely yours. E, expand the definition of success. It may be that this new plateau is actually the weight that your body is going to settle in. It's something that you may have to accept. There are things that we cannot control, and that's our DNA. And if our DNA says that this is the body type that you need to have, and this is the weight that you need to carry, maybe that's what we need to accept. I know it's not what we want, but what we want and what our body is telling us may be two different things. Reestablish what it means to be successful here. Remember, losing weight is more than just a number. It's absolutely the lifestyle that you're leading that's going to improve your healthcare outcomes. Exercise itself without weight loss has been proven to improve healthcare outcomes. So even if you haven't reached your weight goal, just understand you being active this much or these many minutes per week, anywhere between 150 to up to 300 or more, that lifestyle will afford you a healthier life overall. So you can always reestablish what it means to be successful on your weight loss journey. S, the first S, social support. Nothing like having social people around you on a weight loss journey. And I love the fact that community can help you get to a height that you possibly wouldn't be able to go on your own. And we've seen this in all types of things. In business, you see it in life, you see it in football, you see it in sports, you see it in all types of things. You can't do, there's a lot of things in life that you can't do on your own. There's a lot that you can do on your own, but you can do a whole lot more in a community. So social support is absolutely paramount. Reestablish that if you don't have that as part of your fitness journey. And lastly, seek professional help. If you've done everything else and you still feel that, hey, you know what? This number is not the number that I'm supposed to be living at, and I can do a lot better than this. Maybe you absolutely need seek professional help. Get a professional, a nutritionist, a fitness doctor, a fitness specialist, I should say, or a doctor like me. So the social support and the seek professional help, absolutely something that I provide in our conference calls or our calls for lifestyle coaching. And that reminds me, go ahead and take a look down on the link below. And if you'd like to jump on one of our conference calls, our coaching calls, we do personal coaching calls. And I'd like for you to jump on, especially if you have an issue with your plateau. So check the link below. See you soon.